So as a brief update in addition to what we already know about the silhouettes, of course, for this particular Gran Turismo 7 update, and while we wait for the official trailer to see those things in action for the first time, we do, thanks to, obviously, the Gran Turismo news page, which I'll link to down in the description if you want to check all of this yourself, have some additional details on not only winning the Corolla ahead of its wider release, which we already knew, and of course a similar thing happened with the Vision GT from Ferrari not too long ago. That is happening again, this time not only for the Corolla, but it seems also for the Toyota Ambulance, which we do have visual confirmation of thanks to that same news page again. Now, the first thing, and this is all to do with the World Series racing within Gran Turismo, the first one is winning additional cash, about 2 million credits if you get it right, and we've had this one before, of course, predicting the winners of both the Nations Cup and the Manufacturers Cup. The second one in particular, though, is where we get to the interesting part, because of course cash is great, but the viewers campaign is where, as I'll doubtless show on screen, you can not only see the actual Toyota Ambulance and get confirmation ahead of the trailer that that is indeed what it is, but also to win the vehicle early. So this would seem to indicate, like the ones that I mentioned earlier on, that we might not be able to actually get the Ambulance, because it would kind of make it a bit pointless otherwise if you can just win it early if we're getting it anyway. So it does make me curious, given that we are getting 4 cars. We already know that we're going to get the Corolla early and the Ambulance early if we do certain things. And of course I already discussed how to get the Corolla early, so there's no need to go over that again. But that kind of indicates that maybe you're only actually going to be able to drive 2, at the moment at least, out of the 4 vehicles that we're getting in the update, at least straight off the bat, which is a bit of a weird way of doing it. It kind of feels like unnecessarily drawing out the content, which I think is partially possibly a strategy that they're doing to try and keep people playing longer, or at least doubling the amount of times that people log into the game, which is kind of a false way of gauging those numbers, but hey, if that's what they're going for, that's what they're going for. Regardless though, it does allow us to A, see the Ambulance, and B, get it early, quote unquote, even though it would have been a lot earlier if we could just buy it in the update. But as the details show on the website, and once again you can double check this for yourself, all you need to do to get the Ambulance apparently ahead of time, as well as a 6-star roulette spin as well, but who really cares about that, is to watch the sessions. The entries for the first session close on the 13th of August, well, between the 13th and the 14th, depending on the time zone, and then the gift will be delivered on the 14th, so as that one closes the same day. And then the second session, which of course is the one that corresponds to the Ambulance, the entries close on the 20th through the 21st, and then we'll get the Ambulance early on the 21st. Now, one thing which does seem a bit odd from this same update, and again you can actually see the Maserati and the Corolla in one of the pictures in particular aside the Ambulance, it would also seem to indicate that the update is bringing the Ambulance, but also kind of not bringing the Ambulance at the same time. Because word for word it says this on that article. The Toyota Ambulance Himedic 21 will be coming to Gran Turismo 7 through a future update, but players can receive it early. So maybe they're just referring to the update that we're getting anyway, but that's, if that is the case, that's a bit disingenuous, because you can't get it early, because that update's coming this week, and we don't get the Ambulance this week. So maybe that's a bit of a lost in translation thing, but it's a bit of a weird way of doing things. I'm not a fan of this personally, getting this early access kind of treatment. It's clearly only being used to get more people to come back to the game and play it more often. Don't bother, just put it in the update, and if you want to give someone it for free, well, to me that's a different thing. If you wanted to, for example, make the Valkyrie something that you could win in addition to buying it, well, for many players that would have made sense. If you don't play the game as much and you can save the credits and win it instead, that kind of thing I would fully support. But just this kind of manufactured, quote-unquote, early access and then having to wait for it otherwise, forcing in a general sense, to watch something or participate in something just to win something when they're not actually interested in the event, it's kind of an underhanded way of increasing viewership. I know for me personally, for example, I will watch it to get early access, but I won't be watching it. I'll just put it on in the background just for the sake of doing it. And I'm sure I'm not the only one who will be doing that. So it gets your numbers up, but it doesn't actually necessarily increase the amount of people who genuinely care about the event. So it's a bit of a weird way of doing it on Polyphony's part. I kind of get it, but I can't say I support the idea. Ultimately, though, that's it for this relatively brief update on this. Of course, we're still waiting for the trailer. I'm expecting that one to come out tomorrow, where we'll get the full chance to see all of these in action and potentially see maybe the circuit that we're positing could be a part of it as well. We'll have to wait and see. So, of course, stick around for that tomorrow on the channel. And until next time, I'll see you then. But for now, as always, thanks for watching.